Well, happy Friday. Today is Friday, September 5th, 2025. I didn't do one yesterday because I just didn't get around to it. I've been so busy with different things. Um, yeah, very. I hope I don't go on too big of a rant today because I'm looking at things that I'm seeing and it's infuriating. Uh, it's completely infuriating. If I didn't laugh at it, I'd have to fucking cry. So let's look at that little slide thing I put together, but I'm not going to stay on it very long. Um, let's get rid of this. Let's put this on. So just a couple quick things. I'm working on getting back on Revolution.radio at 9 every Thursday morning for morning coffee rants with Dan. I'm going to attempt to not use the F word on um, on that platform because it's monitored by the FCC, and I don't want to get in trouble for using the F word. Uh, which makes sense because the federal governments of the world, let's just say the government, uh, half the followers don't care about children being raped, and the other half of the followers don't care about children being beheaded or blown up. It makes sense that we definitely don't use the word fuck. Makes perfect sense to me, man. So we got to make sure we keep ourselves moral by not saying fuck. I can feel myself already beginning. But I'm not going to on that radio show because I want to reach a bigger audience. So, I mean, I can get onto any platform. I've testified at court. I've talked to lawyers. I've talked to doctors, done presentations, and never once had a profane word come out of my mouth. I can drop $5 words with the best of them, but I'm talking about stuff that really angers me. And when I was just doing a simple security presentation or something along those lines, I wasn't really angered. This angers me, okay? It angers me greatly. And let me explain something. I wrote something in my book, Rise from Darkness, where I talk about when we are presented with situations in life that we can't control, that we are also presented with a unique opportunity for growth, for grace, to handle those things, to surrender to the process, and don't overly uh, dwell on things that are outside our control because it just gets you sick. You don't want to do that. But there's a balance to be struck here, there's nuances. Something outside of my control. My window broke on my Jeep the other day, which, by the way, AI, artificial intelligence, which I get on here and chat with just for entertainment purposes, has named my Jeep. First off, it knows I have a Jeep. AI fucking knows I have a Jeep and a wood stove. Um, AI named my Jeep the Jeep of Destiny. Okay, the Jeep of Destiny. That's funny. Um, I totally forgot where I was even going with that. But at any rate, uh, for the book that I was talking about, Rise from Darkness, when I start talking about um, there's nuances to what you can and can't control. I broke the Jeep window. I couldn't control it. I wasn't going to dwell on it. It was an accident. Okay. I have a ex wife who left me in the late 90s. I didn't have a good job. That bothered me a lot back then, but eventually it didn't because I couldn't control it. I couldn't dwell on it. Life moves on. Okay? But when somebody is beating a woman in front of her children and lying to everybody about it, when people and children are being murdered in a genocide all over the world and over, in particular, in Palestine, getting angry about it is the proper fucking response. Being very angry at those who would murder other people or hurt women and children, get mad at them and angry to the point of taking some type of action for the cessation of that violence, it's the proper response. I'm not going to sit there for my mudras and meditate. This is a perfect opportunity for me to let go and let God. It's not how it works. That's not how manifestation works. Okay, the first part of, there's a lot that people don't understand about manifestation, but manifestation actually starts with taking an action towards something that you desire. Sometimes it means stepping out of your comfort zone. I was very uncomfortable when I first started doing these things. I can't wait till I'm built like this guy. I got the hair, but I don't have the abs yet. I got to keep training. I wouldn't mind having 2 giant wolves with me. That'd be kind of cool. But, yeah, so, the government doesn't care and its followers don't care about what happens to children. Not really, let's be honest. One side thinks that pedophilia is a sexual, it's normal, and they'll spout that shit off. And the other side will say, well, it's just a shame that kids have to be beheaded and blown up. It's just I heard on the news that this country that doesn't have any military, that doesn't have any formed resistance or really too many arms, they've got their soldiers who are very well armed hiding amongst the civilians at hospitals, so we have to blow them all to shit. Get the fuck out of here. Oh my God. Yeah, that makes sense to me, man. It makes perfect sense. Someone's texting me. I don't care. Anyway. There's so much stuff I can get going on when I start thinking about religion, when I start thinking about people's blanket statements they make about what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And they don't understand what objective morality under God's actual cosmic law is. It's real simple what's acceptable. What is acceptable is anything a human adult agrees to do with other human adults that does not initiate harm or steal from them is acceptable. Any action that initiates harm to anybody or coercion that initiates harm to anybody, that's not allowed to do. Okay? So stick all your generalizations and all your blanket statements on what is moral sexuality, what is moral day-to-day living, what is moral interactions with other people, and stick them up your ass. Because anything that doesn't initiate harm is moral, and anything that does initiate harm is not moral. It's real simple, man. That was a lot. But I get aggravated when the FCC won't let me use the F word, but it's okay that everything else I just talked about is ridiculous. I just this week was invited to join the One Great Work Network, and there's over 80 content creators on this network teaching objective morality under God's natural law, and talking about objective truth, because the truth can be known. And I'll never forget this when I had a yoga instructor who really had some real awesome meditation techniques. She didn't want to teach me any of the advanced meditation techniques. I wasn't at the level yet. Okay. Anyway, later on I realized I probably wanted to learn from her because she was talking about how truth is subjective. And she was basically teaching that a truth depended on, well, she didn't say subjective. What was the exact wording she used? And I didn't want to be an idiot in the teacher training, but she was basically saying that truth depends on who's viewing it. Truth, your perception is truth, is what she was saying. Truth is your perception. Your perception is truth. I was like, excuse me, isn't truth truth? Like, if I drink a 12 pack of beer and take 5 shots of whiskey, my perceptions are going to change. So I might not actually know the truth. If I'm getting drunk and high every single day for 12 years straight, to the point where I don't mind turning into a Sith Lord and beating women and children, even if I'm being filmed doing it, do you think my perceptions is the right truth? Is reality? Your human perceptions can change. Don't you think? Look what's going on right now in the world. Military troops in our streets. Let there have been a left president in office and let that have been going on, the right would be losing their minds. So perceptions obviously have changed. So I said to her, truth is truth. And once the truth is known, we have to bend to that. We have to accept that once we do know the truth. We can't try to bend the truth to how we want it to be. I wish we could. But once something is known as the truth, you have to bow to that truth, or you live a lie. So the big thing about the One Great Work Network is they are speaking objective truth. They are teaching it, and there's a bunch of different angles and different ways that people will teach it. And so it's not a one-size-fits-all, but you can go there anytime, and a lot of these people on here are public speakers. They come from all different backgrounds. Many of them are ex-order followers like me. I may be the only one on the network who is an ex-cop, along with military and stuff. I'd be interested to find out if that's the case or not. If that's the case, I'm even more honored, and thank you for the invite. And I accepted it. I'll be on there very soon. In February, I'll be doing a speaking event here at Ignite the Hearts and Minds for Funnel 5. Funnel stands for Freedom Under Natural Law. Okay, freedom under God's law, which I just talked a little bit about. 5 is another one of those synchronistic numbers for me. And the date is going to be the 21st and 22nd. February 21st, 22nd, 2026. Good. And the number 5 is very significant for me. I had that light bulb go off and on 5 times back in 2020. I've told that story. It flickered a little bit. I'm like, what the hell is that? Electromagnetic stuff. Okay, let's change the light bulb. I changed the light bulb. A couple days later, I was in there, and I'm going to the fridge in there, and then the light was on, and then all of a sudden, 5 times it went off, on, off, slowly on and off 5 times. I swear to God. And I was like, okay, whatever's here, I'm not afraid of you. What do you want me to do? And it didn't say anything. I think, I've said this before, I think we get spoken to in different ways from other frequencies, let's just say. And they don't have a voice. They don't have a voice in this 3D reality. But something was speaking to me. Electromagnetic energy is a thing. It actually exists also. Just like karma exists in gravity. And Ignite, thermodynamics, ignite the hearts and minds. The name of my presentation is going to be The Hammer and the Flame, A Soul's Journey. And I'm going to be talking about my journey into and out of order following. And one hell of a journey it was. And I'm blessed right now. which is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I feel like I owe creation this to be trying to speak truth and help and actually protect and serve. Okay, I took an oath to protect and serve. Okay, that oath to protect and serve has no expiration date. There is no expiration date to protect and serve those who can't protect themselves anywhere in humanity. Not protect and serve with obfuscated morals and brutalize people at the behest of immoral politicians, which is what order followers have done throughout all of human history. And they fool some of us with these altruistic visions of protecting and serving. And sometimes we do a good job at that as cops, once in a while. Even as a corrections officer, I did. You know, the inmates that were in there for smoking a green leaf that I protected from the actual fucking killers. Yeah, I did a good job in there at that too, but it's in a monetized criminal justice system that we just accept because of the contradictions we're all raised with to accept. As soon as we can bust out of these contradictions, we won't accept them anymore, and we won't accept war and murder and assault. And the most powerful force on this planet is children. Why do you think they target them? Why do you think they target them? They ask the most simplest yet profound questions, powerful. They have a saying, out of the mouth of babes. I remember that when I was a kid, out of the mouth of babes, because usually a kid will speak such simple truth. Adults are like, yeah, he's right. Wow. Well, it's unfortunately not like that. That's just not, okay. Yeah, well, it should be like that. Kids are very durable. To see a 6-year-old, 7-year-old kid patrolling Palestine with a Superman cape on. That takes a lot of courage. Somebody else on the network was telling a story once. She was about 3 years old. If she hears this, she'll know. A lot of people might know who I'm talking about. I really love this story, and I've told it. I'll tell it, to any of my listeners, and I'm probably going to talk about it at Funnel. Well, I'll talk to her and actually say her name. She doesn't care. She's speaking at Funnel too. She's about 3, and she's watching her aunts, uncles, her mom, dad, and grown-ups all argue with each other, and they kept pointing at the TV. Now that she's older, she's looking back on it. She's like, the news was on, but they're all arguing and fighting and all unhappy and shit, right? And she kept looking at them and looking at them, pointing at the TV, and they were on they were happy before that crap came on. And she walked over to the TV, went behind it, unplugged it, looked at everybody, and was like, "Ta-da!" Yeah, that's simplicity. So I'm gonna be honored to speak at this, and I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm going to run through the rest of these a little bit quickly. And kind of get to my main message today. But I just want everyone who worships the desert, invisible bearded desert sky daddy, whichever variant you worship. This guy here didn't worship that God. He was trying to teach people what true God was. And it wasn't that invisible guy in the desert sky. So, something that has existed in humanity for a long time. Look to some of Jordan Maxwell's work. He was, this was something that they used to torture, or they used to torture and murder people on, thieves, whoever, murderers. They would actually torture people on this cross that you see Jesus carrying. So then he was tortured and murdered on it. And I, in my opinion, because I'm not a Christian, although I do believe I follow the good Christian values, piety, forgiveness, humbleness, empathy, charity. These are good qualities to have. And listen, you got to have truth in any psyop. Okay? When they dangle a carrot, the stick is always going to be coming. But in order for you to believe what's being said or done, any psyop, these are the ABC nuts and bolts of a psyop. There has to be just enough truth for you to bite on it. So people who are good people bite wholeheartedly into those traits I just named. And they let the rest of the contradictions in any given book written by man just, whatever. We'll table that for now. In my opinion, there's power that we give to items. There's power that we give to words. This is why when we speak words, when you put a word together with letters, it's called spelling, because we're casting spells with the words we speak. What did they do? And the greatest satanic trick, in my opinion, in human history, was to get, after they created a religion that Jesus didn't want, was to get all those followers to venerate an item used for murder, human sacrifice, and torture. And I got my left ears ringing now as I just said that. So I know I'm onto the truth with this. And then crystals and different things, items that were carved and made into different things that people would carry. Crystals have a vibration, sometimes a healing energy. The earth has a electromagnetic force to it, and some people are able to at will use energy into a crystal. And those people who were doing these advanced healing modalities with a crystal, they were called worshipers of idols. But they knew Reiki. They knew how to channel electricity through their body, because the human body is like 75% water. Everything in our brain is electrical. Erection is when you have the hair on your arm stand up on edge. Everyone's gotten goosebumps, right? I couldn't do this before, but I can actually sit there, breathe. I could give myself that without anything that would give me goosebumps. And I've demonstrated it once before. I'll practice it more, but it could be done. Some people could do it at will very easily. That's the channeling of the energy. What kind of stuff is he speaking? That's the devil. Okay, sure. You go ahead and believe in that invisible guy in the desert sky, but anything else is definitely not right. Okay, whatever. That's just my concept on this, okay? But before I get to this, with some of the stuff that's going on in the world, I want to play something. I'm only going to play part of this video. Let's go here. Okay.
It's out of context. And I'm guessing they're insinuating because it was after a major hurricane and it was flooding and it was a disaster zone, that somehow that
Katrina.
Better to take people's firearms?
Please open the door. They had AR-15s or M16s. They were pointing at us.
They told us, put your hands up in the air. Let us see your hands.
They're drawing down on me, and they let the looters run rampant for over a week? Are you kidding me?
I really thought they were going to kill me. I really did.
They didn't care what your rights were. They were going to deny it.
You're letting the thugs get away with everything, and you're coming to honest, good citizens and taking away their protection, and it is wrong. Wrong. Wrong.
But still, the order have been given for police and National Guard to go house to house, often with guns drawn, to evacuate residents and confiscate their firearms.
If people decided to stay and protect their home,
Evacuate for safety. Taking your rights for safety. For safety.
with their firearms, to me, that makes the most sense in the world for them to keep their firearms to protect themselves. That's the very reason why they have them. So I will never understand, and no one could probably ever justify to me why police officers would go door to door and take firearms away from people who would utilize them to protect themselves.
Police,
Okay, that's enough of this. Let me come back up. Oh, and there we go with that. Okay. So, what are you going to do when they come to your door? Okay, when you say you don't have firearms, because maybe you really don't, they're still going to search your house. And I could use legal words because I was a cop. I know, well, with due process, without due process, they're violating your Fourth Amendment right, your Second Amendment right, I don't want to talk like a slave. They're violating your human rights, your natural law, God-given rights to defend yourself. So when they want to start taking away your ability to defend yourself, you need to ask why. Now, somebody will, after some PSYOP, false flag event happens, where there's some type of tragedy, take away the guns, we got to get rid of the guns, we got to get rid of the guns. I'm right with you, man. Get rid of all of them. Every gun on the planet Earth, take them. No guns anymore, okay? Then I'm with you. But until that happens, everybody should have them. Because this is what ends up happening when the citizens are unarmed in history. Again, this is historic. There's the Roman centurion. He had a family to feed. He was probably a good human being in many ways. But here he's taking your Savior to be tortured and murdered. Jesus was a prophet. Okay, firing squads by Germany because they weren't armed. Marine Corps training at Parris Island on patrol. I can tell you when I was in the Marines, even though I had plans on becoming a police officer when I got out, you wouldn't have wanted me at 20 years old. I mean, I had some common sense back then, but you don't want a 20-year-old Marine or Army National Guard or some foreign national from Venezuela who is on a path to citizenship in a National Guard uniform who strangely looked like he was already really fit with military bearing when he came into this country as a refugee. Anyway, you don't want these 20, 21-year-olds in the military patrolling the streets. Trust me, you just don't. And to the folks out there on the, I'm not into your political bullshit, but to the folks out there who are like, we're restoring order to our city streets, and cops are like, yeah, and people on the right are like, yep, you'd be dying if the left started doing this. And I want you to understand something. Because of violence that's going to be coming up in the next years, and gun violence that's going to be coming up, the same thought process, okay, for you people on the right, that you're okay with this, goes into this, is going to be the same excuse and thought process that some left, quote-unquote, left-wing puppet wants to have order followers go door-to-door and take guns because of the gun violence. It's for safety. Safety. What are you going to do when you open the door and there's 4 or 5 people there with guns pointed at you? We probably should try to do something in some kind of higher conscious way, or in some type of informational way, or in some type of educational way, or outreach, which is honestly the One Great Work Network, events like this. These are educational outreaches. But we should try to do that before it comes to that point, because to you right people who are okay with military patrolling city streets, I hope you're okay when the military and police also come to your house to take your guns for just the same amount of safety. You need to look at how both sides are working together and quit being dumb fucks. I don't know what else to say to you. This was from a video where Bill Gates is talking about the second half of his life and making mRNA vaccines and gene-altering vaccines for humanity for things. And he's giving his money away. And okay, cool. You're such a good guy. Listen, if something was really great, it wouldn't be mandatory. If something was good for you and you wanted it, that'd be great, but it wouldn't be mandatory, okay? They keep you so mind-controlled that you can't think for yourself. People are caught in the rat race. They're on the hamster wheel. They're in the 60-hour-a-week in-debt work, home, sleep, kids, work, home, sleep, kids cycle, so they don't have the ability to think deeper. So they'll listen to the news, and whatever they align with a little bit is what they'll parrot. And they'll say that a chip going into your body. Well, you got a chip on your wall, on your credit card. You've had chips all along. Why won't you want one there? It just makes it easier. You're right. And if I choose to have a chip someplace instead of my wallet, and I choose that, and because it's voluntary, then I know it's probably pretty benevolent. When it becomes benevolent to me is when it becomes mandatory. Because that chip could also release poison in your body. It could also be programmed to explode if they wanted to. They can also use it to send electrical things through your body and actually control your actions. Okay, our whole body is electrical. So there's another story I could tell, but I might save that one for Funnel 5. It had to do with electromagnetic energy. But yeah, if it's voluntary, it's great. But when they make it mandatory, that means it's not good. Okay? And I'm looking at Melania, and just an observation I've made with her over the years, I couldn't quite put my finger on it to today. She knows damn well she's involved with all this evil, and you could tell when she's looking. She doesn't look happy ever. Like she knows I'm involved in evil. She looks like she doesn't know how to get out of it. And I'm not specifically calling Donald Trump or anyone else evil. I'm just saying the whole system. She doesn't seem comfortable with it to me, and she just doesn't know how to escape. You know, that's just my view of what I'm seeing. But God bless her. But this fucking idiot. Why not have Dr. Fauci up here too? Shit. What are you guys doing? Bring Dr. Fauci up. If you're going to still push the mRNA vaccines and gene-altering therapy, bring Fauci back. Come on. The swamp's not drained. You might as well bring the fucking lizards back. Anyway. That's pretty much like all I wanted to say for today. I'm looking at what's going on in the world. I can see a way to freedom through higher consciousness, through understanding that we shouldn't initiate harm or steal from others, and that anything you do that doesn't initiate harm is okay, and anything you do that does initiate harm isn't okay. It's real simple. So simple, a caveman can do it. Hence, I'm teaching it. I don't understand what people don't get about that. Anyway, I'd like to just end today with just saying, hey, to God with a capital G, God, Lord of Spirits in the Sea of Lights, help this world to wake up. There is a whole race, ethnicity of people being murdered. No one's doing anything about it. Children are being beheaded, blown up. Don't tell me you care about children. Say prayers. Say prayers that we can end this nonsense. Because what we allow is what's going to continue. And it's getting to the point, folks, where they're putting their dirty right out at us. They're not even attempting to hide it. Not even attempting. Okay, that's cool. You don't have to hide it. We give you our consent since you're not hiding it. Now you may feed. Fucking vampires. Anyway, these are powerful puppets. People call them puppets. It's a meme. They're very powerful puppets, though. Imagine if you're in this position and you had to get flipped by something that's above you, and you may be still trying to do some kind of good within it. But the reason why I think some of these guys can seem so unmerciful to their citizens is because they're angry at being told what to do. Most people that get into this are sociopathic narcissists to begin with. Now they're being told what they have to do. Every one of these leaders back in 2020 worked together in tandem to lock the entire world down and put us all in face diapers. Now, less than 5 years later, we're at a world war. And they're using psychology and your own prejudice against you to get you to fight one another instead of everybody turning and looking at them. It reminds me of this meme where this guy and this lion are in the river, and you see the guy and the lion are both looking to the side, and it's what happened because they both seen a crocodile come into the river. So now their fight was over for a minute. Literally left and right, that's what y'all have to do in this country, because they can't issue in a new world government without dividing us, and they've done an expert job at it. Bravo. These guys are going to get busy in the next year. Have 3 months worth of heat. Okay, propane, firewood, whatever. Food and water. Okay, flashlights, medical kits, extra whatever pharmaceuticals or medications you take. Have some stuff ahead to get through a cold winter in case there's an EMP or from a solar flare that can cause the electricity to go out worldwide or something, Or if we do get attacked by those extraterrestrials that are coming, that ship that's coming that they're telling us about, and it impedes us, especially up here in the northeast where we're at. Some of this weather that's up this way, you'll freeze to death, okay? I'm sure that they, in a population control and control agenda, wouldn't want that to happen. So make sure you have batteries, flashlights, 3 months of food, water, and heat, first aid. Whatever other tools you have is up to you. But just understand, when they start coming door to door within the next year or two to take your guns, you were warned. They never do something, if you look throughout history, they don't just do something big. Something big unites everybody, just like 9/11 did. That was too big. It united the country. Forget the rhetoric they tried to use months later after the fact to divide it. It was too late. They had already united us for something. Now they're doing it in small increments so they don't unite us. They're being much more careful now. I don't know what else to say. It's just like the war on... They tried to do this. The deep state tried to do this in the 80s. They tried to femme out men in the 80s with 80s big hair metal. Let's tease their hair and put makeup on and make them look like chicks. The problem is they underestimated some things. One, those dudes still had all their testosterone and they had socks in their pants. So they didn't get the gender war that they wanted back then. They've done a good job at attacking testosterone now and creating a gender war. So I don't know what made me come think about that, but it's just hilarious to me. Anyways, I can keep talking and talking and talking until my next podcast, radio show. Be looking out for other content where I'm not as jilted, jaded, and angry. Hopefully I'll have more productive things to say, not just be venting. But anyways, man, nothing but peace. Stay safe till next time.